All right, let's dive in. We all know those Georgia ELA Standard documents can be a bit dense. So today, we're going to transform them into a real, actionable lesson plan for teaching narrative writing. We're taking the guesswork out of it so you can help your students become amazing storytellers. Ready? Here's our game plan. We'll start with the why behind the standard. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of planning using the state's own evidence document. After that, it's all about the classroom. We'll walk through modeling, guided practice, and finally, checking to see if they've truly mastered the skill.
Okay, first things first. Before we can teach anything, we have to know exactly what the standard is asking our kids to do. Getting a super clear picture of the goal is really the foundation for everything else we're about to do.
So think about it. Our youngest learners, they come to us already knowing how to retell stories they've heard a million times. That's fantastic. But this standard, this is the next giant leap. We're asking them to shift from just repeating a story to becoming the actual creators. We're empowering them to use those key ingredients, characters, setting, and events, to build their very own narratives from scratch.
This part is absolutely crucial. We have to translate that official standardese into something our students can actually understand and own. An I can statement like this is perfect. It's simple, it's clear, and look, it honors all the ways they can tell their story, whether it's through drawing, writing, or just telling it out loud.
So, we know our destination. Now, how do we draw the map to get there? Well, it all starts with planning, and our best friend here is the state's evidence document. This thing tells us exactly what good looks and sounds like.
And this is why that document is so brilliant. It gives us this super clear success criteria. These aren't just fuzzy goals, they're a literal checklist of things we can see and hear. Can they name the character? Can they tell you the problem? This becomes our roadmap for teaching and our rubric for assessing.
Okay, let's get ahead of a really common trip-up. So many of our little guys will draw a picture of a character and think, ta-da, I wrote a story. We have to explicitly teach them that a story is more than just a picture. It needs action, it needs a sequence, it needs a what happened next.
All right, our plan is solid. Now for the fun part, the teaching. We're kicking things off with the I do, where we model the entire process. The key here is to think out loud, making all those invisible moves a writer makes totally visible to our students.
And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We're going to use this amazing routine straight from the state's strategy card. It's called Say It, Then Write It. And it's so powerful because it puts talking first. It gives kids a chance to build their story out loud before they ever have to worry about a pencil.
So let's break it down. Step 1. The student just talks. They tell you their story. As they talk, we're listening and asking questions to make sure they have all the parts. Then, and only then, do they draw and write it. And finally, they use what they made to retell the story one more time. It's a beautiful cycle.
So our modeling language has to be super explicit. Here's what that might sound like. Okay, friends, watch me. It's my turn. My character is Sammy the squirrel. The setting is a big forest on a sunny morning. Watch me draw Sammy in the forest. See how we're connecting our words directly to our actions?
And here's a key move. Even while you're modeling, you've got to keep their brains turned on. A quick check for understanding is perfect. You can ask the whole group, "Who's my character?" and hear them all shout back, "Sammy the squirrel." It's a fast way to make sure they're with you before you move on.
Okay, we've set the stage with the character and setting. Now we invite the students to become co-authors with us. This is the we do, where we guide them as they create the heart of the story, the problem and the solution.
And we're not just pulling questions out of thin air. We're using a super focused prompt, again, right from the evidence document. What problem does Sammy have? And here's the teacher move. Instead of just calling on one kid, we say, turn and talk to your partner. Bam! Now every single student is talking and thinking about the story.
Now, as they're buzzing with ideas, our teacher ears are on. What are we listening for? These are our look-fors. Are they using those vocabulary words we taught them? Are they getting to the heart of the problem? Sammy tried to jump and he fell. Are they coming up with solutions? His friend Tilly helped him. This is our real-time data collection.
So what happens when a student says, the problem is the rock? We need a plan for that, right? Here's how we gently correct. We can say, ooh, that's close. Let's look at our anchor chart together. Remember, a problem is something that goes wrong for the character. So what went wrong for Sammy? We're redirecting them back to the definition and helping them refine their thinking.
All right, the moment of truth. Now it's their turn to put on that author hat.
In the You Do portion, students get to create their very own stories from start to finish. And our job is to make sure they have all the supports they need to be successful.
Of course, independent practice doesn't mean one size fits all. For our friends who need a little more support, we can offer scaffolds, like sentence starters or maybe a graphic organizer. And for our students who are ready to fly, we give them extensions, like challenging them to add dialogue or to write a whole new adventure for their character.
And hey, remember, you do doesn't always have to mean you do it alone. In fact, the evidence document itself points to partner work as a fantastic next step. Having students apply these skills with a classmate is a powerful way to make the learning stick.
Okay, we've taught it, they've practiced it, but how do we know they've really got it? We need to look for clear evidence that they've hit that learning target.
An exit ticket is a perfect tool for this. It gives us such a clear, quick snapshot of their understanding. On the left, you can see mastery. All 4 story elements are there, in order. But on the right, well, that's that same misconception we talked about, right? A character, but no real story. This tells us exactly who needs a little more support tomorrow.
So, let's boil it all down. What's your checklist for success? Number 1, start with the evidence document, always. Define what success looks like before you do anything else. 2, model everything using that say it, then write it routine. And 3, use those prompts from the state documents to constantly check for understanding.
You see, when you follow this guide, you're doing so much more than just checking off a standard. You're giving your students the foundational tools of storytelling. You're building their confidence and showing them that their ideas and their stories matter. So the real question is, what incredible story will you empower them to tell next?